With this, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to invite onto the podium our chief guest. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me as I request him to join us to the podium and say a few words. Our chief guest, Mr. Sunil Kakkar, Senior Executive Officer, Supply Chain, Maruti Suzuki India Limited.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Shegar, President Tagma, and the entire EC committee of Tagma for inviting me today and giving opportunity to address all of you in this International Tooling Summit 2022. I am quite delighted and privileged to be a part of this event which hosts the pioneers of tooling industry. Tagma, as we know, has been continuously working to promote and encouraging improvements in tooling industry. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank as a OEM Maruti Suzuki that the way tooling fraternity has really put in efforts in upgrading the total thing in terms of infrastructure and capability, and the way tooling product has come to us from India, that is really remarkable. You will be glad to know that as of today, we are already working with 31 tool makers in metal and plastic category. And the entire mutual efforts, whatever OEM, tier ones, and tool makers have been putting in, the overall yield has been quite high. And we have been able to localize 90% of the tooling requirement for our vehicles. So this is definitely a very big achievement, and a large credit goes to all of you for putting this together, because as you know, in the past, we were primarily looking at maybe Korea, Taiwan, China, elsewhere. But now you people have proved that in India, everything and almost everything can be done here. Very briefly talking about the auto world, maybe it may interest you that as you are aware that automobile industry, we have been facing numerous challenges in the last 2 years. The supply chain as well as technology framework, that is undergoing a big change. So here we need to see that the way we had various things like COVID came in, then there were semiconductor shortages, and then there were commodity price increases. So these are the things which challenges which are coming in last 2 years. But as a overall family, I would say starting from tooling makers to part makers to OEMs, all of us, we have tried to see that how we overcome this. Apart from this, you would be aware that already in global markets, the transition is happening in the auto industry today. Whether it is a disruption or a transition, we need to really look at it. But when we are talking about EVs coming in, when we are talking about flex fuels, then we are talking about IC engines, whether they are going to remain or not. So primarily we are sitting on a crossroad where we really don't know that what all are really going to take majority steps in future. So there the best part is that we remain ready for all the technologies which are going to come. So as a OEM, we are definitely getting prepared ourselves. And tooling industry, I would not say is totally dependent on the powertrain technology, maybe little agnostic, but still the requirement of those vehicles will be in different category of parts. So there I would suggest that tooling industry also needs to be really prepared going forward. So when we talk about the new cars which are coming and EVs are going to play the main role, so there I think one of the very important thing is on the high tensile steels which are going to get used. Now already we see that the first electric vehicle which we are going to launch, so there already the ultra high tensile in the range of 780, 980, 1200 plus. So those kind of metals are going to get used. So there again, we need to see that how India and the tool industry here can really take initiative and prepare themselves so that we are able to do the job first time right and the best quality. So that is very, very important. So that way I feel that Tagma can definitely play a role, and probably with support from all of you, this should be done. Because as you are aware, right from our Honorable Prime Minister on Atmanirbhar Bharat, the way he has been telling us and guiding us, and also as being a chairman of the sourcing committee on localization, we have already prepared a roadmap, including the tooling industry also, the way in next 5 years, how localization can happen. So there we need to see that whatever gaps are still remaining, whatever 10% parts are remaining, or this ultra high tensile which has to come, or whether we talk about plastics when we are talking about lamps or lenses, which are little more critical. So there again, you need to see that how we can become better than any other country. So this is something which, as a OEM, I would like to request. Now, coming to the future challenges, as I told you that localization of proprietary parts and steel is really important. So basically what we are looking at is that in terms of products, we have already witnessed a lot of localization with you in past 2-3 years. But still, I would say that there are certain expectations as a OEM, which I would like to mention here, particularly with regard to the tooling industry. So first is on the concurrent engineering. So here we need to see that as a improvement of the simulation capability, this needs to be really improved in the design and feedback mechanism while you are doing the manufacturing of tools. Because there, again, when we have gone through the process of localization with some of you, we feel that this area further can be enhanced and we need to really reach at the global level. Also, second thing which we have seen is on the quality maturation. Of course, we are doing better. You are doing a much better job day by day and things are improving. But if we have to really see whether we are talking about T0, T1 or whatever trials, then how can we have much better accuracy levels so that the overall quality of the car or the end product, whatever may be, is the best quality in the world. So that is something which we need to really see. Then also third is on the yield improvement, because obviously cost is very important and price sensitivity in India. Nobody better than us can understand that people are very sensitive on the prices. So there again, we need to see that as a part of yield improvement, what can we do as a global standards? Can we make toolings which are giving the best of yields in the, which gives the best of the cost? So that is another one area where probably things can even become better when we are talking about the India being the global hub for the tooling industry. Then again, another point is on the robustness to avoid the early failures. That again, we need to see that wherever some earlier failures are happening, those things are really taken care in advance and those improvements are done. As far as localization of tool is concerned, as I told, 90% is already done and balance I'm sure will be done soon. But again, as a part of your buyout, where you are buying the raw materials, which is special steels or whether you are talking about BOPs at your end, there again, I think some maybe discussions with the steel industry or wherever it is required. So there again, you need to see how as a overall tool, as a raw material in BOP can further be localized. That will really give us another cost merit. Then lastly, I would say that in terms of ecosystem, when we observe Taiwan, we observe China, Thailand, and a lot of places which we have seen the historical maturity of the tool industry. So there we have seen that there are very clear-cut tier 2 suppliers who are very specific, specialized, and experts in their jobs. So that kind of structure has been giving benefit to them. And here probably the way tooling industry has really matured over a period of time, probably large part of the job is done by individual tool makers. So there I don't know whether TAGMA as a overall or how this can be taken up even with the government, where some incentives can be brought in and OEMs can also support. But we have to really see that if this kind of thing can happen where we have really center of excellence and expertise. So that kind of thing we feel as a OEM will really be very beneficial. So those clusters we need to see how they can be created. And again, talking about the, what President also told about the capital investments which are required in tooling industry, we are fully aware that this is a capital intensive. So one, we would like to say as a OEM is important that please do not compromise on the selection of machines, which may be cheaper in the beginning, but ultimately on productivity, quality, and those standards, it may not be really good. So that way, whatever financing assistance is required along with the banks or elsewhere, that we can definitely see. But what I can tell you is that from the OEM point of view, as far as Maruti is concerned, last, I would say 3.5 years back, we have already taken a policy decision that in order to support tooling industries via tier 1s, because they are our direct suppliers. So we have already taken a policy that the tooling money will be given right up front at LOI 30% or maybe at maturity 40% and commissioning balance part of it. So that is a change which we have brought in for not only tier 1s but also for tier 2. So this should definitely help in terms of financial thing whenever you are facing the cash flow problems. Also, I think what with Mr. Sharma I was discussing earlier also, the recognition of tooling industry probably and our engagement was also low. So now what we have done is in our conferences and in our vendor meets, we have made it very clear that some of you, whatever group we can call maybe on a rotation basis, we have already started inviting you and we are happy that you also came. Some of you came and participated in our vendor meets and vendor conferences. So that way, right from OEM to tier 1 to tooling makers, it is a direct communication. And obviously you come to know a lot of things about our plans also, the way we are going forward. So that way we feel, and of course inviting us here clearly shows that the bonding and the direct connect is also happening. On the skill development, I think Maruti Suzuki has already taken initiative with where Subros and a lot of our other suppliers. We have already made a group where we are trying to improve the skilling of people so that in this particular trade, the skill set can be available. But there, I think as a Tagma, probably along with government and skill ministry, it needs to be further seen that how that skill set can be made further better for future, and also how that can be retained within the tooling industry. So that is again one of the things which we need to take up. So with that, I think I would like to once again thank Tagma for inviting and wish you all the success to become a world-class manufacturing for tooling industry. Thank you very much.